Hi, my name is Paweł Sydor. I am from Poland. I am a classically trained composer, graduate of Oberlin Conservatory and the Juilliard School of Music. I am also an owner of a music production studio, Studio Pavilion Music. Beside classical music, that is my main thing that I do. I've written also for films and did some pop songs and pop music productions. Just recently I have had a chance to work with this amazing hardware equipment, it's standing here in front of me. It is a hardware limiter called Laal, standing for Look Ahead Analog Limiter, made by Polish company Home Audio. This piece of equipment belongs to a special group of hardware equipment. It really exceeds the expectations. I have worked for many years with different plug-in limiters and also a couple of hardware limiters. I don't know if you have experienced this, but when you make a mix, when you run it through the console, you work very hard on proportions or making this mix just sound right. Then what you have to do, you run at the end, you want to run it back into the computer to record it. Unless, of course, you're working with tape machine. But here, in my case, I'm working with the computer. I'm using very high quality mastering converters. The problem is when I'm recording it and I want to put a limiter at the very end of this process. In most of the cases, it changes the sound of my mix. So basically, it does things that I did not want it to, especially plug-in limiters. I have several of them made by highly regarded companies who also specialize in mastering equipment. Those limiters change the air of the mix. Basically, they cut off the air. Something happens up there. Also, they change the bass. Usually, it's much more pronounced, not as natural. And the middle loses its three-dimensional quality, becomes two-dimensional. Sometimes snare is just not as natural. There's lack of air around it. Well, that's what plug-in digital limiters do. And we're talking about those high-quality limiters. In my experience, I would describe it as they create a very fine layer of like a glass between the speakers and my ears. They alter the original mix in an unnatural way. Until now, I think it was very difficult to achieve to delay the sound in hardware equipment that would catch those fast transients. Well, this piece of equipment is incredible. When I heard first time mix run through this limiter, I could not believe my ears. I was like wondering, is it on or is it not? But what it does, it preserves the air of my mix. It doesn't alter the bass. It doesn't make flat the middle of my mix. Snare is alive, full of air surrounding it. It behaves in very noble and musical way, very natural way. Yet it controls the whole mix, all the transients, and it adds RMS to the whole mix. It makes it really loud as you want to. It can also color the sound. It's got additional features like a transformer. If your mix is too mono, you can make it spread, make it more stereo with preserving the bass frequencies which remain in mono, which is unbelievable because that's where the energy is within the mix. Well, I do think that I also do some recordings of classical music. And of course, in classical music, basically you do not use limiters, you do not use even compressors. The only thing you may use is the very high quality analog EQ. However, normally you EQ with microphones that you're using, and that's where you play with the whole setting of the sound in classical recording. However, maybe what I'm gonna to say, it's gonna sound really strange, but I probably would not hesitate, or at least try, and I probably wouldn't be disappointed to use this limiter for classical music if for some reason the recording did not come out the way I would like to. Just because it is so subtle, it's so gentle and so natural on the sound. I think that just as the digital era has changed the sound of tape-based studios, I think this limiter, in my humble opinion, will change the sound of current and future generations. I think audience will be blessed with this, with the sound of this limiter, because they will hear finally the mixes as they were made by sound engineers in studios, without cutting the air of the mix, without altering the bass and flattening the middle. I think they will hear a new sound, a very natural sound, full of life and energy through this limiter. I highly recommend it. Thank you.